Saturday Night Main Event. Hot takes. Let's go with Mario. Mario, this is the AJ versus Shinsuke. We need it back at 34. Match of the night for sure. Match of the year so far. The 2026 match of the year right now. That's the one to beat. They set the bar last night. What an amazing match. It was great. But it did suffer from the fact that there was no build whatsoever, and that it's like nobody here was going to believe that Shinsuke, who they've pretty much jobbed out for the last couple years, every once in a while they push him for a month or two, give him a title, and then take him off TV just so he can lose it the next time he reappears. But for the most part, Shinsuke has been a non-threat in a vacuum, and watch this match and not know any of the history of anything or whatever. Then it was fantastic. 7 Night Samurai says AJ versus Shinsuke didn't need a story going in because the match was fantastic and told the story. I get where you're coming from, but I disagree with it. And it's okay. We're allowed to disagree. I hope you don't unsubscribe because I am not in agreement with you. Because, hey, you know what? Sometimes maybe there doesn't need to be a story. Problem is, WWE lately has been doing that for almost every one of their storylines. It's, oh, that's going to be a banger match, so we don't need a story. And I firmly disagree with that. If I didn't want a story, then I would go watch UFC or gymnastics. Honestly, wrestling, professional wrestling is about story. Why don't you go and watch, go to a local high school and watch their wrestling matches? Those don't have stories. HBK versus The Undertaker. Think about this. HBK versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. That match didn't need a story, right? That match did not need a story. That was, like, to me, the greatest match of all time. However, the story leading into that match made that match even better. That's my argument here. Shinsuke and AJ Styles, they didn't need a story. But that match we saw at Saturday Night Main Event, we're going to forget about it. Most people will forget about it. Maybe you won't, but most people will forget about that match in 2-3 years. Heck, probably 2 or 3 weeks. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, no, we still talk about that. Why? Because we were emotionally invested in this match. We were emotionally invested in two wrestlers who were built up strong. And then they proceeded to have a great and awesome match. They didn't say, hey, they didn't come together and say, hey, I want to wrestle you at WrestleMania. And everybody at home, just remember what we did in 1997. That's the story we're building off of. We wrestled 10 years ago in 1997 at Hell in the Cell. Just everybody go and look at that feud and then remember that while we wrestle at WrestleMania 25. No, they just went out and produced a great match, but it had a great story leading into it. And then the next year, they had another match, which, while I don't think was as good as 25, it was still an amazing, awesome match. And they went and did another storyline leading into that match. So they didn't just say, we're going to have another match this year, just remember what we did last year. No, there was a story that went into it. And WWE needs to remember that. These banger matches that we keep producing, they don't mean as much if there's nothing going into it. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura should have been built more. We have known that AJ Styles is going to be retiring for a minute now. If we wanted Shinsuke to come off as a threat, why haven't we been building him up? Why have we not been building him up for at least 3 months? The dude lost like 2 or 3 weeks ago in an open challenge. He's come up against everybody who's put the belt on the line for an open challenge, and he's lost to every single one of them. And I'm supposed to think that he's gonna beat AJ Styles. It's like, come on. You can't sell this match on a New Japan feud. A New Japan feud from 10 years ago, all right? Up until 3 years ago, no other wrestling company except for WCW and ECW existed in the WWE universe. Most fans don't know. So it's great that you do know your wrestling history and your wrestling outside of the WWE bubble, but most fans don't. So it's like I'm so happy that AJ and Shinsuke got their moment and their match, but for real, there should have been a story to me. There should have been a story. The match told a great story, but so did Shawn and Undertaker. But Shawn and Undertaker's story was better because there was more story leading into the match when then they told another story within the match. All we got here was a story within the match. That's why I think that this could have been so much better. It like one banger match on one singular evening is like yay cool, but a banger match on a singular evening becomes an epic unforgettable tale that we speak of for years to come when there's a great story going into it. And that's what WWE seems to have forgotten. It's just like, let's just have matches, tell stories. Unreal, the seasons of Unreal. I see writers in the writing room. What are they doing? Those writers did not tell Shinsuke or AJ Styles anything. That was Shinsuke and AJ calling that match, making that match happen. Maybe they had an agent backstage telling them maybe do this at this moment, that at that moment. So what did the writers do? What is the job of the writers? They did nothing to get this match going. Was this the writing room? What if we had AJ come to SmackDown and Nick Aldis just makes a match because Shinsuke respects him? Was that like how long did that take? How much did the writers get paid to come up with that storyline? What the heck? Where's going on? What is going on here? So while yes, super happy that match, great match, best match of 2026. I think it sucks that neither character got a storyline, that we did not get a storyline going into this. Even the AJ Styles retirement is like a joke because where's the story? AJ Styles is literally going to put his entire career on the line because why? Because he lost a match? Because someone cheated? Someone outsmarted him? Like, there's not enough animosity between AJ and Gunther for AJ to be like, no, I have to wrestle right now. You beat me on an episode of Raw. You outsmarted me on an episode of Raw, so I'm putting my career on the line? And honestly, I think he's going to win now. I honestly think he's going to win because it was revealed yesterday. Shinsuke Nakamura actually posted a journal entry where he said that he remembers AJ Styles saying that he was going to retire at the Royal Rumble. And he posted that on Instagram and then he took it off. Unless Triple H is playing us and is told Shinsuke to do that to trick the internet crowd, then I'm honestly thinking that AJ's done. And so if that was the case, they've known for a while that AJ was going to retire at Royal Rumble. And what storyline has he had in the last couple months? He was a tag team champion with a guy he had no history with. Like, if we knew AJ was going to retire, then why haven't we been building it up? Why have we not been building this up? Just a storyline. Go watch basketball if you're just looking for athleticism. That's it. Like, go watch baseball. Go watch something else, in my opinion, or I would at least, because like they're great athletes. But I need something to bite my teeth into when it comes to this. And they're not giving it to AJ Styles on his retirement tour. And they didn't even give it to John Cena on his retirement tour. If everybody's retirement tour is just going to end with Gunther, like that itself is not even a story. I mean, it's character for Gunther, but what about the people that have been wrestling for 10, 20 years? Like, can we write them something? Like, I'm sorry. I love that match yesterday. It was a great match. But straight up, I will forget about it. But you know what? Even though their match at WrestleMania 34 was not as good, I will remember that more. You know why? Because there was a story attached to it. And at the end of the day, that's when Shinsuke dropped to his knees and gave a low blow to AJ Styles. That's what I'm going to remember. I remember almost nothing about the match other than it wasn't as good as I hyped it out to be in my head. That's my fault. And Shinsuke should have won. He didn't, but he gave AJ Styles a low blow after. That's because I'm more invested in stories and characters, and Shinsuke flipped as a character. Last night was great. I'm happy for the human beings, but it's not enough. And WWE needs to write stories. I'm not even saying they need to write better. At this point, I'll settle for a bad story because they're giving me no story. All right. Sorry, that rant went on a little longer than I anticipated. So let's do some other hot takes with Sami Zayn. We got, Sami does not deserve a title shot, says LT. He might have at one point, but right now he doesn't. And then we got Navin Kumar says, I love Sami, but his time to win the title is long gone. There were opportunities where they could have pulled the trigger, but not now. Tiz Mickey, she said AJ versus Shinsuke was her top 10 match of 2026. Yeah, right now that's the bar. That's the one that's going to be hard to beat. Ben, man, I love Sami, but I can't help but to feel something should have happened in 2023. Not to mention, if he loses to Drew, I'm sure they'll stretch out the storyline until Saudi Mania. So no one is saying that he's not really not deserving, but they're saying that his time passed. And I kind of agree with that. Bloodline Sami Zayn was Sami Zayn at the height. I'm telling you, if they had given the belt to Sami Zayn rather than Cody Rhodes, people would have celebrated so freaking much. It would have blew the roof off, and everybody would have been great, because I get it that Cody had to finish his story, and it seemed like the natural progression, and that was what was in the plan. But Sami Zayn at the time somehow rose through that plan, and it was like a natural progression of Sami. Like, I understand that Roman losing his championship had to be something monumentous, but the storyline called for either Sami Zayn or Jey Uso to be the guy to beat Roman. And that was when Sami's time was. And then 2 years later, they're trying to capitalize on it. The problem is, sometimes if you don't strike while the iron is hot, well, then the iron gets cold. And then an iron can't do what an iron's supposed to do. And that's kind of how a lot of people, myself included, feel with Sami Zayn. I'm not saying throw away the iron, but at this point, like, it's like, now it's Drew's time. Now it's Drew's time to be champion. And I just don't see it for Sami Zayn. I do love Sami Zayn. I really do. Even though I have a lot of negative things to say about his booking. I don't like when he's booked as a constant underdog, or when he tears apart a faction, when an entire faction can't beat him. Like the MFTs for 3 weeks in a row got beat up by Sami Zayn. You know? I mean, yeah, Sami had some friends here and there, but for the most part, 5 people couldn't beat Sami Zayn for 3 weeks, and then Solo lost his title. So it's like, I don't know, you know, they had an opportunity, and they lost it. And that's why when I see LA Knight being squandered, I'm like, come on, we gotta hurry and strike now, because in 3 years, when they're ready to finally let LA Knight win, I might feel the same way about him that I feel about Sami right now. I don't want Sami to win the world championship. Is he deserving of it? Yeah, he's a great guy, great wrestler. I've enjoyed his character. So much so that he's on my top 5 best gimmicks of all time with that Bloodline Sami Zayn. But Sami Zayn right this second, I don't want to see him beat Drew McIntyre. I think it's Drew's time. Non-Cyclist Pro says Sami haters gonna hate. He says, I would paraphrase, he says that they should let Sami Zayn win at Rumble and then let Drew McIntyre win it back at Chamber. Hot potato it a little. And honestly, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea because I don't want Sami Zayn to win it, but I feel that it's inevitable, and I would much rather, let's have Sami just win it for 4 weeks, give it back to Drew McIntyre, and then be done with it. Triple H gets his big old pop, and that's it. Sami got his championship run. Hey, Kane was he only got the championship for one night, but hey, you know what? He can at least say I was champion. So if we gotta get that title on Sami Zayn for season 3 of Unreal, episode 1, where Sami just becomes the guy, the underdog that made it, then fine. Just give it back to Drew, and then we can be done with it. And then Sami Zayn can just hover in the mid-card as a great utility player. DS Wise Mark says, just let Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble, keep the belt with him for 1 week, let Drew McIntyre take it back, just finish this with Sami, the underdog already. This guy sucks. You are on the exact same page with me. I don't think he sucks, but we're on the same page. We're just like, okay, we know what's going to happen. Just do it. Let's get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off. Make him champion, and let's just get it back on Drew as quick as possible. Carmichael says, yeah, Sami won. Of course he did. Were they not going to give Sami the title match in Saudi Arabia? However, I predict Drew will break their hearts and defeat Sami. I hope they do. I hope Drew does break everybody's hearts, because you know what? If we were willing to let John Cena tap out, then we should be willing to let Drew McIntyre beat Sami Zayn in front of the Saudi Arabia crowd. Although the Saudi government pays a lot of money, and Triple H loves to stick it to the fans too sometimes, so we'll see. DTJC says, if Raquel loses at Rumble, I'm crashing out. I don't care if Liv or Roxanne wins. Something has to be consistent in this storyline. I want Raquel to win. I do want Raquel to win, because if she wins and then Liv wins the Rumble, we have ourselves a WrestleMania matchup right there. But I could see it's Triple H. He loves his long title runs with very few stories in between our matches. So I could see Stephanie Fakir winning. I really could. Tracy Woods, since everybody's already talking about Sami, my hot take is that the haluva kick looks ridiculous. It should have been reworked and called a hell of a kick. It's a cute play on words, but not to hear over and over. Actually, you know what's a funny story? It is actually called a hell of a kick. So Sami Zayn, this is the story of the haluva kick. Sami Zayn, he would read the WWE magazines, and if you say hell of a kick a certain kind of way in print, it's spelled HELLUVA. Right? It's a hell of a kick. And X-Pac would do, as the writers would write, a hell of a kick. And when Sami Zayn, whose first language is not English, read it, he read it as haluva. Haluva. And so he was inspired by X-Pac's kicks. So he named a move after what he used to read from X-Pac. He renamed it a haluva kick, thinking that was the correct pronunciation. It wasn't until later, when he got better with English, that he learned that they were actually saying hell of a kick. Therefore, the haluva kick is actually supposed to be called a hell of a kick in Sami Zayn's mind. It's OTW says Trick Willie didn't need to win here tonight just to lose at the Rumble. He looked great out there and didn't get pinned. That's a win for me. Me too. I wanted Trick Williams to win, but just like I knew Sami would win, I knew Trick would not win. My biggest hope was that he would not take the pinfall, and he didn't. So loved that. Alfonso Passion, smart of them to have a big brawl angle with Cody and Fatu, as they don't want either to look weak. Still, I miss the old days where people lost and it didn't matter if you booked them as a big deal like Stone Cold. I would have preferred Cody losing, but I will say that brawl was really good. Really good. At first I thought the brawl was a lame cop-out, but then it just kept going and going, and then this was how you do a brawl. Don't repeat this again for another year, but yeah, last night's brawl was great, and it made Cody and Jacob look amazing. Innovative Program School, Saudi money talks, good for Sami. Yeah, they say that they don't listen to anybody, and that Saudi Arabia has no input on things, but I don't care. If someone gave me $1 million right now, let alone $100 million, I would probably want to make that person happy, even if they were like no strings attached. I'd be like, oh yeah, no problem. Hey, you want your feet rubbed? Like, no, I don't feel forced to rub your feet. I just want to do it. Kuro-san says my Sami fatigue is getting fatigued. Family-friendly PG guy. I'm Canadian myself, and I wanted anyone but Sami Zayn to win. If he wins the title, I'm telling you, mark my words, backwards. Those ratings are going down. Down. They're already pretty down, to tell you the truth. So, like, if the ratings went down, I think it'd be unfair to say it was Sami Zayn's fault. Just like right now, I think it would be unfair to say it's Drew McIntyre's fault. Cody's fault? Might be a little more fair, but in all honesty, it's Triple H's fault. All right, boys. All right, girls. Thank you so much for your Saturday Night Main Event hot takes. I'll see you tomorrow for Raw. See you, bye.